Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you haven't seen our walk around video on the BMW iX, check out BMW Park Lane's channel. We'll put a link to it so you can see what I thought about the looks. I'm not going to go too much into that because I've already done it in depth. I don't personally mind the looks of this car. I think it looks quite edgy, but I know it's a controversial design. We were stuck in London on that video and I wasn't able to give any driving impressions, but I have had this car for a few days, so I'm able to share those with you. So let's jump in the car so I can tell you what it's like to drive. You join me back on the road. The car, I have to say, is so comfortable. It is literally like wafting around in luxury. I can't remember the last time I've been in a car that is as comfortable as this. Being in the cabin, it is actually cavernous, and that does remind you of how big this car is from the outside. Now, I'm used to driving an F90 M5, which is quite big. This feels even larger than that to place on the road. But if you can get over the size of it, if you're used to driving a big SUV, which this is, the level of refinement it offers you is absolutely huge. This is the base model, the 40, and I think it's quick enough. It does 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. I'm not going to time it, but it'd be rude not to like give it a little bit of a launch. So I'll just change the driving mode into sport and we'll just give it a little floor. Yeah, it definitely moves. But that's not what this car is about. It's about the space it has, the comfort and refinement levels. The tech in this car is absolutely insane. I've got the phone hooked up to my Android Auto, so you can do Waze and Spotify through here. So when you go to the main menu on here, it is like a computer. It has all of the apps which you can scroll through, and if you don't like using the touchscreen, you can actually use the iDrive controller down here. I'm actually a big fan of this big screen now. It gets separated by the steering wheel, but the resolution on it is amazing, and you can really configure it individually to a space where you like it. The other bit I love about the interior is the pan roof. I did mention that in my walk around video, and the interior design in its own right is very minimal, but it just has the right amount of detailing, like this champagne metal finishing here. It's got a weird shaped steering wheel, which is okay when you're doing sedate driving, which you do in this, but if you're wanting to feed the steering wheel through your hands, it gets a little bit difficult. But I've literally just been cruising around in this. I've taken my family in it. My kids really love the design. They're 10 and 12 and they think the design is very cool. I think it's very controversial because it's a big departure from what BMW have done before. But our family has an i3S, and I can see a lot of the design cues from the i3 in this car, and I don't mind the front end, to be fair. It reminds me of an Angry Bird, which is not too bad. So it's edgy, but I think it's not as edgy as the XM, so this one doesn't offend me as much as that car does. But in terms of driving, because it's fully electric, you're not getting any vibrations from the engine. It's not coming up through your feet, so it's very smooth and it rides amazingly. I mean, these wheels are 22-inch, and I don't know how they've got the ride so comfortable. So this road I'm on now is very, very bumpy. You've probably seen us going down here in our GP3, F80 and G80 M3, and the cars are, they're literally bouncing around, but it's just taking and absorbing the bumps so well. Handling wise, obviously it's a big car, it's got a lot of weight. It doesn't handle as well as, for example, the iX3 I tested out, but you don't need it in this car. For me, this would be a car for someone who's maybe already got an electric car that's slightly smaller like the i3 and they want a bit more space. There's plenty of room in the cabin for 4 adults. My kids were in the back and they said it was super comfortable, lots of space, and they were really happy with the amount of charging points in the back so they could plug all of their devices in. One of the other things I really love about this car is the heads-up display. It's huge, and it also has augmented reality satellite navigation. So when you have a destination plugged into your sat nav, it will actually hover an arrow above where you need to turn, so it makes it very, very user friendly, and I've personally not experienced that on a car before. So the technology in this car is absolutely epic. So the cabin is a very comfortable place to be. I could really see myself doing long journeys in this car, depending on the range. The range is a bit of a tricky one because there's only WLTP figures out, and I don't really trust those. RI3 realistically does 140 to 50 miles, which is nowhere near what WLTP say. This car, they're quoting 360 miles, and with 50% charge, I've got 97 miles left, which means it'll do over 200 depending on how you drive the car. So I'm hoping it'd do around 225, which for most people would be adequate. Really depends on what kind of journeys you are doing. The Harman Kardon system in this is absolutely epic. It's probably one of the best standard car stereos I've heard. The bass is incredibly full. The high fidelity noises from the tweeters and mids is very, very good. Also, I was actually quite surprised at how good the stereo was in this car. I'm actually a bit sad that I'm going to be giving it back because I've been dailying it, and it's just a really comfortable car. For me, the negatives of it, depending on what kind of road you're going on, is the size. But some people, they're already used to the size of an SUV, so then the choice comes down to whether you're going to have electric or hybrid. If you need a fully electric, mainly it's going to be either you're driving in central London and you don't want to pay congestion charge, or in the UK, the benefit in kind tax at the moment is extremely low for electric cars, so you'd only be paying 1% tax on this if you took it as a company car, versus 30 to 40% on a fully petrol car. So to sum up, I really like this car. I actually like the design of the car. It's edgy, it attracts a lot of attention from people, and positive attention, because I've never seen anything like this on the road. It's a bit like a spaceship, and it feels like that when you're driving it. It's so modern in here, just float along, it's very relaxing. And if this is what the future of EVs is going to be like, I'm actually happy for it when it comes to destination driving. What I mean by that is a car that does A to B and needs to transport you around in comfort. I think EV cars, this is where they do trump the ICE cars, because they can offer a level of refinement that ICE cars cannot offer. Of course, I am a petrol head. When I like driving cars for fun, for me it has to be an ICE car, because I like the noise, I like the vibrations, and I like all the oral aspects of that driving experience. But for me, when you're driving from A to B, you don't necessarily need that. I definitely don't feel like I need it. But interesting to see what you guys think of it. Please let us know in the comments what you think of this car. And if you're interested in purchasing one, please contact the guys at Park Lane and they can assist you with all the specifications and the pricing of the models. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. If you want to join the conversation, please drop us a comment below and we will do our best to respond to you. And if you're running out of things to watch, why don't you watch one of these two?